positive aspects of it. And then there is the RCEP, which is basically the ASEAN plus Asian countries. My view about both of these negotiations is that trade, the more inclusive, the better. I actually favor a process where China becomes part of the TPP, because initially it was reluctant because it felt it was so far away from some of the objectives on state enterprise and the environment. But China's long-term objectives, I think, are fully consistent. So I think it should somehow become part of that process. But I also think, actually, it would be very good for the U.S. to be invited to become part of the RCEP process, because it's looking at trade and a variety of other issues which are not in the TPP, but it would be very good, actually, to get the U.S. Involvement in these same kinds of issues, because both of these actually will affect Asia.
That's a very good point. China worries about TPP, and the U.S. is worried about RCEP because they will be blocked out of what will be the largest trading bloc in the world. Now, the fact that we are starting a bilateral investment treaty discussion, the BIT discussions, that is a good foundation for one day, either as was just said, having the U.S. join RCEP, or having an idea that we can have a China-U.S. free trade agreement. And the bilateral investment treaty is a good foundation.
So it's basically G2, the two largest economies in the world. And Chinese President Xi Jinping made an important proposition about the relationship. He proposed to build a new type of major power relationship. But recently we have seen some tensions growing, especially regarding Asian affairs. Do you think we're still in a trust deficit?
We are still at the stage where we are trying to understand each other. And I think one of our biggest opportunities and one of our biggest challenges is misunderstanding, a misreading of a situation. And that suggests that we still have to listen. We have to understand Chinese laws. We have to understand Chinese history. And China needs to understand U.S. laws, U.S. history. But so much can be avoided by having a little bit more understanding of each other. And that will lead to trust.
And Dr. Huang, in your opinion, what are the obstacles for the two sides to continue to strengthen bilateral relationship? Is cultural or is institutional?
Well, first of all, I agree fully with Secretary Guterres that there's a great deal of understanding that needs to be done. There's still a lot of information that's not shared, a lot of cultural differences. But if I focus on the South China Sea issues and the frictions, which are very prominent here because there's so many countries from ASEAN here, and then you have the dispute about the islands in the north between Japan and China, and there's also the disputes between North Korea and various countries. I would basically say there's two issues here. There's a question of sovereignty. Who actually owns these islands? And my view is you cannot resolve sovereignty issues very easily. Countries are very nationalistic, they have firm principles, they're not likely actually to be very flexible. But it also creates a lot of tensions. But it's a lot easier to deal with the economic issues.
And the second one?
The resource rights, fishing rights, joint exploration. We have examples of other parts of the world where sovereignty issues are not addressed, but they've been able to forge agreements on peaceful development of resources among the countries concerned. And if you can do some of that, you can reduce the tensions and perhaps put this kind of discussion on a better keel.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your insights about China-U.S. relationship. Well, today our panel discussion focused on the two largest economies in the world, China and the U.S. Our panel guests talked about how the two countries can narrow their their trust deficits and continue to build on their economic cooperation. That's all from me. Back to you, Pandem.
Thank you very much, Guanxing. Our reporter Guanxing in South China's Boao.